Hi, I'm Commissioner Martha Schrader. Welcome to Cooking with the Commissioner. This is going to be a really delicious dish that I'm making for you folks, once again, from my Italian heritage. It's really going to be a really rich Italian meat sauce known in Sicily in southern Italy as a ragu. And once again, I learned how to make this with my grandmother and my aunts. I talked about them last time. They have influenced everything I've done through the years with my cooking. And the good news is, when you take a look at what we have here today, all of this, all of the meat, the spices, and the produce are from the Oregon City Farmers Market. So I was very happy to go there the other day, do my shopping. I found a beautiful, beautiful pork roast. And as you can see, it's been marinated in Italian seasonings, for about a day now. We're going to be putting that into our meat sauce, as well as some very mild Italian sausage. Once again, all of this is available at the Oregon City's farmers market, as well as the other markets that we have here in our county. And the reason I love to cook is because I want people to know that we have one of the best farm-to-table opportunities here in our county with the wonderful meats and foods and vegetables that we have available. So let's get started. I'm going to actually finish cutting up my onion here, because you can't make a ragu unless you have a really nice bit of onion in it. I'm going to chop this up really well, as you can see. So here's my onion all chopped up. I'm going to take it and put it into this little bowl, but I also want to point out some of the other wonderful spices and things that I have here today. But first, let's get this onion in the bowl. So really, to have a really good Italian ragu, you have to have a base to the sauce. And the base in my family was always onion and garlic. And then this is fresh oregano and basil from my garden. And then this is an Italian spice called pepperoncini, because we like to add a little heat to our sauce. So it isn't a mild sauce. It's got a lot of meat in it. And when you really have it and eat it with your spaghetti or with your linguine or any other kind of pasta you want to use it for, it really has that nice tomato flavor with a really meaty bite to it. So that's kind of how you really want to make it flavorful. And I have a few other dried spices that I use, and actually this was purchased from a local company. It's called Pilgrim Spice, and they're fantastic. I actually went to the Milwaukee Farmers Market to find those spices. So I have one that is Italian seasoning, and I have another one that says garlic lover, because the other thing about this sauce that you're going to need to know is it has lots of garlic, lots of onion, very flavorful, very, very full-bodied. And a lot of times what Italian families would do is they would make the meat in the sauce, but the meat actually becomes a side dish, and then the sauce goes on the pasta. So you're actually getting two meals out of one big pot of sauce that you're making. So let's get started. The first thing I have to do with this is, as usual, get my glug of olive oil. And this is olive oil from Sur La Table. I use it all the time. So here we go. Just going to cover the bottom. Just going to cover the bottom a little bit there with olive oil. Okay. And then this is where all these other yummy things start to cook together. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn it on, and I'll be sauteing the onions and the garlic. So I'm going to go to the stove because we're going to get ready to saute our savories here. Here we go. So I'm going to take the onions. There we go. Get them all nicely coated with the olive oil. And next, I'm going to put in the garlic. Here we go. Let this get nice and kind of browned up a little bit, kind of sauteing the bottom of the pan. This is going to be the base of the sauce. And we get this all done right before we put the meat in. So let's let that go a few minutes here. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and get our meat. Actually, it's a pork shoulder, I believe, because it has the bone in. And what I did to prep it earlier was cut it into big chunks. Now, I do have a big chunk that is the bone, and I am going to put the bone into the sauce because it'll give it, again, a richer, meatier flavor. So what I actually did was a little salt, a little garlic pepper, some of the spices. You can see I have pepperoncini on it. So I'm going to take this right over right now. You can hear it sizzling. And we're going to take our meat and we're going to put them in the bottom of the pan. Oh, but let's put our nice big shoulder in here. You can see this is quite a big pork roast, but it will cook down considerably because this will go in the oven and probably just simmer now for about 3 or 4 hours. And while I'm waiting for that to brown, I'm going to do something here with my sausages. This is mild Italian sausage. A lot of times I just cut them into pieces because it browns a little bit easier that way. So, once again, from our Oregon City Farmers Market. And you can see, so all cut up into pieces. So now I'm going to take it and put it in with the meat sauce, and we're going to let it cook and brown. Oh, it's browning nicely. So we're just going to let that brown a little bit before I put the tomato sauce in. I'm going to start to add some of the spices. Here we have Italian seasoning. And this is garlic lover, so it's got a little more garlic in it. There we go. The pepperoncini, be careful because it will make it very hot. So if you like it hot, put more in. But if you don't like it hot, just put a tiny bit. Just put a tiny sprinkle in there to add that flavor. Here we go. Just tossing it and moving it a little bit so it doesn't get burned. As I said, you want to get it nice and brown. How about I do 2 at a time? That would work. Here we go. Oh, you can hear that bubble. Woo. Fills all the way to the top, and now I'm going to take my fresh herbs and I'm going to put it in and we're going to let it simmer. Here we go. Oh, wow. Look at how rich that looks. Oh, it's actually starting to bubble if you can hear it now. So, every Italian nonna always puts a little red wine into their sauce because it's good for the heart. That's exactly what my grandmother used to say to me. So this is a cab. It's also from the farmer's market. And I'm just going to do my famous thing and put a glug of wine in here as well. So here we go. Ooh. Now that'll give it another really good flavor. Absolutely fantastic. So now that this is started on the stovetop, I'm going to move it into the oven where pretty much you just leave it, go every so often, every half hour or so, go in and give it a little stir. Put your chop on. Oh, you feel how heavy that is with the meat in it? Oh my goodness. This is going to feed an army. Okay. There we go. And voila, our sauce will be done in about 3.5 to 4 hours. Now that we have our Italian ragu in the oven, I'm actually going to add more meat, not just the pork, but with ground chopped meat. And this is the way my grandmother and my aunts made their meatballs. Very, very simple. And I'm going to use my little chopper here to get started. So I'm putting about a whole clove of garlic in here. And next I'm just going to kind of chop up. I've got some fresh parsley. And I'm just going to kind of cut it like so, and I'm going to stuff it in there with the garlic. So there we go. Like I said, this is one of my most favorite kitchen tools. I love this little food processor because bingo. So if you can take a look here now, this is the parsley kind of pulverized and the garlic pulverized kind of into a green paste, and that goes right into the meat. So the other ingredients are also pretty simple. So a little bit of garlic, salt, and pepper. Just going to put that in there. I'm going to put in grated Parmesan cheese. There we go. And my famous Progresso breadcrumbs. And finally, now this was something my Aunt Mickey told me. She said, well, you always add water to your meatballs because it makes them more fluffy. And so now comes the fun part where you put your hands in and you mix it all up. Make sure it gets all mixed in really, really well. Now, this is the one time I don't always use olive oil, actually. I actually use canola oil. And I'm just going to coat the bottom of a pan, maybe a little bit more. There we go. So let's get this going again. Now we're going to let that heat up a little bit. And I'm just going to start rolling the meatballs in my hand. You can see the size of them. That's about a good size. So here we go. And usually I just roll a few. As I go, I'll wait for the oil to heat up. You can actually tell when it's ready because the top of the oil gets a little shimmery. And you know it's time to drop them in. There they go. So I have about 6 in there at a time. We're almost done with the meatballs. I'm just finishing them up right here. I'm going to move them over. And the next thing I'm going to do is bring the pot of water over, and we're going to be getting that going for the pasta. But I thought you might like to have a look at the meatballs. So this is what we have. This is my grandmother's Italian meatballs. We're going to leave them on in the pan for a little bit, and we're going to notice I have paper towels underneath that help soak up the excess oil. So they're going to be beautiful when we put our sauce on top of them and have them with our pasta. And let me tell you a little bit about the pasta. This is pasta that you can get at all 3 of the farmers markets. I have found it in Milwaukee, I have found it in Oregon City, and I've also found it in Lake Oswego. And it's pappardelles. And this kind is a toasted onion pasta. And I thought it would be delicious with the meatballs and the sauce. And it isn't a spaghetti, it's more of a fettuccine. I'm going to put about 1.5 pounds of pasta into the boiling water. Once again, with my famous pot that I love, which is actually from Italy. We let that boil about anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. Just depends, you know, you're kind of, like I said, I'll kind of check and see if it's done. We're going to take a quick look in the oven to see how our sauce is doing. So let's take a look and see how we're doing. That's just going to bubble away now for the next 4 hours, and it's going to be an absolutely delicious ragu. And there we go. Voila. Oh, and look at how this nice fresh pasta looks. So right now I'm going to actually take some of the sauce and I'm going to dress the pasta with the sauce and maybe even add a few meatballs on top. So this is what the sauce looks like after it's been cooked all day. The meat is all nice and shredded. You can see those nice pieces of pork. And I'm going to get a few meatballs to put on top. And the piece de resistance is you've always got to have a little bit of Parmesan cheese on top. So voila, here we go. homemade meat sauce with meatballs. It's got pork in it. It has sausage in it. It has ground beef in it. It is really a meat lover's dream. It is called an Italian Ragu because this is how they made meat sauces in Sicily and Calabria, the boot of Italy, where my family came from. And it's just the sauce I grew up with. So bon appetit. Hi, this is Commissioner Martha Schrader again, and I just finished cooking this wonderful meal, but what is a meal without a good friend to share it with? So I have my friend and my colleague, Christine Lewis, who's one of our Metro counselors.
First off, thank you so much for having me. I walked in the door and it smelled so good. I was like, thank goodness we've got the commissioner in the kitchen and not me.
Okay. Well, I did make this especially for you because I knew that it would be something that you would really like. And I thought, what can I make Christine that would be something I can share from my family, but also be a delicious meal? So thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
And we've been working on a number of things together, too, if I'm not mistaken.
We have been, yeah. It's really delightful to see you every now and then up at Metro. And I come down your way for meetings at the county, and I think we've got a really good partnership going.
I think we have a fantastic partnership. And I know we were at an event the other day
talking about Willamette Falls.
Yeah, Willamette Falls. Yeah,
that's a really important project for our community.
Yeah. What's your role in that right now? I mean, you're relatively new, but you jumped right in with both feet. And so, tell me what you know and where we're headed with that, because Metro is a big partner in the whole.
Absolutely.
In the whole undertaking.
Yeah. So there are 4 public partners: Oregon City and our county. So you and Metro. So I represent Metro at the partner table, and of course the state of Oregon that's also been a funder. So the 4 of us as public partners are all working hard together, and it's really exciting to see the opportunity with that public riverwalk moving forward, and with the values of access to nature and our economic redevelopment proposals all alongside the cultural and environmental heritage of the area. It is so magnificent, and we've cut off access for far too long. Nobody knows it's the 2nd largest falls by volume in the United States. It's this magnificent treasure just nestled in at the bend in the Willamette.
I mean, I always knew it was special, but I hadn't realized really until we started the project that it was really one of our biggest waterfalls. That was stunning to me.
Yeah.
And the other thing I always thought was interesting was the history there spans not just our recent history of 200 years and the generation of electricity but then I think it wasn't called PGE, it was called Portland Electric.
Yeah.
One of the first transmissions of electricity to Portland, and they lit 50 homes. That was like in the late 1800s, 1896, I think.
And that's actually when you see some of our Oregon City and West Lynn bungalows from that period of time.
Yeah.
They were the workers who worked in that electricity.
Wow, that's amazing. But even that recent, when we talked to our tribes, it's millennia, because wasn't that one of their main gathering places?
Absolutely. It was such a crossroads for many tribes, and we have to make sure that the tribes are our partners going forward. Yeah,
I believe that they will be, and I know for them, again, with the history, it's also a sacred place, because it was a place where they gathered, where they met in peace with one another. I know they fished, I know they gathered lamprey. There's just a whole number of tribal rituals that are special to that place. And one of my favorite things to do in a kayak is I can actually kayak up to the petroglyph that's there. And it's an old, ancient Native American kind of a sign, I guess, if you will, that's there. You can still see it from the water. Yeah. So I'm really excited about this. How long do you think it's going to take? I mean...
Well, I think the project has been designed out in phases. If I'm not mistaken, I think there are 9 phases. So we have lots of opportunity well into the future. But last I've heard, we're going to be breaking ground within the next year or so.
Oh, wow. That's the one thing I at least want to finally see happen, because we've worked so long and so hard for that. And it's going to be a boon for Oregon City. It's going to be wonderful for the county, but people are talking about it, even at the meeting we had the other day, they were talking about it being like world class.
Absolutely.
Like international. And
yeah. I am so glad that we have Italian food. You know, my husband is from an Italian family.
Oh my gosh.
And when we go to Thanksgiving, there's lasagna on the table right next to the turkey. So
okay, that's
it's
the way
it's your heritage and your family, but I'm all on board.
Well, I have to send some home with you today.
I will take it.
You can never leave an Italian household without food.
That I've learned.
Can't beat this pasta. It's from a local vendor, so really good.
I heard that you got it at one of our farmers markets. I love going to the market.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that we love the most about our neighborhood is on Wednesday evenings we can, in the summer at least, not in the dreary winter, but in the summer months we can go, just a couple blocks, walk and get flowers, vegetables.
You're in West Lynn, right?
Yes.
Okay, I've got to do the Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Most of this is from, I went up to Oregon City.
Oregon City, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great market as well.
I do Oregon City, Milwaukee, Lake Oswego. Now that I know Wednesdays, I will do that too in West Lynn.
And don't leave off Happy Valley. They've got a market.
Oh, they do? Okay. Is it a big one or is it a smaller one?
Smaller.
Smaller, but it's still a market.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to do.
It's the eastern corner of my district. I have to stand up for them.
Okay. I love our farmers markets.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that's really unique about Clackamas is we can have these farmers markets in smaller communities because we're right at the urban-rural interface.
Absolutely.
And that's a very kind of metro way to look at it, the urban-rural interface. But in very real terms, we're connected to the farming community because we're at the edge of our urban growth boundary. And we're able to really reap the benefits of that.
Yeah. And we're really committed to farming in Clackamas County. You know, our extension office.
With OSU, yeah.
OSU is going to be opening, actually going to be breaking ground, I think, this fall. So we'll actually have a brand new extension building on the campus, and they're going to build it of cross-laminated timber.
Fantastic.
Which we're really, really happy about.
I know that's a priority for your commission. Yeah.
Oh, yes, it is. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And we've also been committed where we worked with Clackamas Community College to get like a small farm program going where they actually help people who are maybe retiring farmers pass their farm on to either their family or someone else who wants to continue farming. And that's a really important thing. We really do have a lot of agriculture, a lot of berries, a lot of, meat products. I mean, you name it, we offer it here. And so you can't find more wholesome food.
Yeah,
I think,
absolutely.
in this county. So.
And I do know of a local tech startup based out of Canby that one of their goals is to get food grown and raised in our community up into Portland. So it's like a food delivery service where you can go online and you order, you click, I want the beef and I want these peppers, and then 2 days a week they drive it up and you can get delivered to your office tower in downtown Portland. So that's a great way that we're bringing food in, and it's a tech solution to kind of an old-timey problem.
Let's get that farm to market going.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Really.
But it's also a transportation issue, and that's
you
knew I was going to talk about transportation.
So what is going on with Transportation 2020?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. Yeah, so as you know, we are convening a table of 35 leaders from across the entire metro region to help advise Metro as we think about putting together a package for 2020. This would be innovative transportation, both on the funding level, but also really looking at what corridors in our communities connect people to where they need to go, be it picking up kids from soccer, be it going to work, the needed medical appointments, all of these places we go to and from. How do we get there, and how can we make it safer, more dependable, and easier to access the spaces we need to go to?
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think, I think two of my colleagues, I think Pam Treese of Washington County and Jessica Vega Peterson from Multnomah, they're the co-chairs, aren't they, of the whole piece. And I think Chair Bernard's on that,
along with two of our mayors, Mayor Knapp and Mayor Gamba. And we also have representatives from Clackamas County at the table in their capacities through their jobs, both working professionals. So we do have a Clackamas County voice at that table, but I view my job as making sure that we're going to have Clackamas County options and solutions.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
We really need that, and you've been a fantastic champion.
Yeah, thank you.
I have to say, you've come right out of the chute, started working so hard. We served together on Impact together. It's a delight to have you there. You've really brought fresh new energy to all of this, and Clackamas County is well represented with you.
Yeah, thank you.
With you as our representative at this point
Thanks.
as well, because you understand the county. You understand rural, urban, suburban.
And we're all different communities, right? So when I look at my district, I have Lake Oswego, I have Happy Valley, and pretty much everything in between. And we all have to get around, and the north-south routes are far easier than the east-west.
Yeah.
And when we are going to move forward on a package, we need to know that those challenges aren't going to be solved in one package, but between opportunities at 205 and some of the Sunrise work, I think we could actually get there.
I think we can get there too, and the Sunrise has been on the books since I first was a commissioner. One of the other transportation things that we've done as a county, we have a new vehicle registration fee. We have 1,400 miles of road, a lot of it rural, and we were falling behind, and we finally said we need another leg to the stool. So we've started a committee now of citizens who will really inform us about what needs to be done where and how. We want to concentrate on safety. We want to concentrate on making sure those shoulders are clear in the rural areas so you can see when you drive. We want to
separated
on
bike lanes.
Yep.
Bikes don't want to be in the road any more than drivers want bikes in the road.
And we're really going to work it hard to make sure that we're giving the public the best transportation service that we can deliver as a county, and so we're real proud of that. Still have a lot to do, both
Absolutely,
you and I. So what do you like best about your job? Let me just...
Oh, I love it. Every day is something new and different. And normally that means, I get to go learn about something interesting. Like I've learned a whole lot about the falls. I've learned a whole lot about some of the work that Metro does running the zoo and the expo center. On days like today, I get to come eat food with you, and this is delicious. So really, every day is different. And I see one of my jobs as really being an advocate for Clackamas up at Metro. And eventually I want to turn that into bringing Metro down into the district and make sure we have a good connection to all of our local jurisdictions. Everybody at our cities should know who to call. They should pick up the phone and know who at Metro can help them with what they're working on.
And we did just have a big... I know Clackamas County, we have a thing called the Clackamas Coordinating Council, Clackamas County, C4 for short. And the bottom line is that that's how we work with all our cities, and we just had a retreat to, again, look at transportation.
We talked about transportation, we talked about housing, and the two are so interconnected. And we absolutely have to make sure that we have a livable place, and that means having communities where people can work where they live if they so choose, and if they don't, they have dependable road or transit to get to work.
Where they're going to go.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I think it's going to be time for us to finish eating.
Absolutely.
Wrap her up, and you really do like it, huh?
I love it.
So you think Mike would like it too because he's Italian?
I think he would.
That's special to know. Thank you so much, Christine.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you here today.
It's been a wonderful opportunity.
Thanks, my friend.